Sauron wasn't the first Dark Lord. He was only the shadow of something far worse. Long before the ring, a power shattered the world's first kingdoms and twisted creation. His name was Morgoth. Middle-earth is a world shaped by fragile balance. Mortal kingdoms rise and fall beside ancient forests, dwarven halls carved into mountains, and elven realms that cling to fading light. Magic is not everywhere. It's rare, dangerous, and often controlled by those who understand its true cost. Power flows through bloodlines, oaths, artifacts, and, most dangerously, through rings created to dominate wills rather than guide them. If the enemy triumphs, this world does not simply fall under a single ruler. It breaks. Free will dissolves, cultures vanish, nature twists. Orcs replace gardens, smoke replaces sky, even memory fades. Men, elves, dwarves, and other free people do not just fight for land. They fight for choice, for identity, for the right to exist without chains. And behind every visible threat stands a deeper mind, one that does not want to rule Middle-earth, but unmake it. A far older power had already begun its war, and it started in the heavens where even the gods trembled. Long before the rings of power were even forged, there was a darkness. It was Morgoth, once called Melkor, the mightiest of the Ainur. Born from the music of creation, he rebelled against the harmony of Eru Ilúvatar, twisting his will into the shaping of Arda. The earliest wars were not fought by men or elves, but by beings of godlike power, as the Valar opposed his relentless corruption. Mountains shattered beneath his fury, rivers boiled, and creatures were twisted into monsters to serve his will. Elves, the first children of the world, were hunted, stolen, and corrupted, igniting the earliest cycles of war and grief. Morgoth's theft of the silmarillions, the jewels holding the light of the two trees, became the spark for centuries of bloodshed. Betrayal and loss defined the First Age, and even allies of the Free Peoples found themselves divided, unsure who could be trusted in the shadow of such overwhelming power. Yet, while Morgoth's might spread across Middle-earth, his corruption would shape the first true armies of darkness. As Morgoth entrenched his power, Middle-earth trembled under the weight of an unrelenting darkness. Elves and men forged fragile alliances, raising fortified cities and secret strongholds to resist his destructive advance. Each battle was a test of courage and cunning. Armies of orcs clashed with elven archers in shadowed forests, while dragons burned the plains, leaving nothing alive in their wake. The Valar themselves guided from afar, sending emissaries to rally resistance, but even their intervention could not stop the relentless tide of corruption. Every victory was fleeting, every stronghold a potential tomb, as Morgoth's reach extended across mountains, rivers, and skies. At the heart of it all, the first heroes realized the stakes. The world was at risk. Not merely life or land, but free will, hope, and the very light of creation hung in the balance. And amid this chaos, Morgoth's most dangerous servant quietly rose, learning and plotting in the shadows of his master's war. Amid the storms of the First Age, a singular figure emerged from Morgoth's shadow. Sauron, once the Myron, a spirit of order and craftsmanship. Twisted by Morgoth's corruption, he became the architect of tyranny, learning to manipulate, deceive, and bend others to his will with precision rather than sheer force. Unlike his master, Sauron craved structure. Chaos was not his tool, but a weapon to be wielded efficiently. He oversaw fortresses, commanded legions, and experimented with sorcery, testing the limits of domination and fear. Yet beneath his discipline, a deeper conflict brewed. The desire for independence, the pull to surpass his teacher, and the temptation of absolute power. Every victory or betrayal in the First Age carried lessons for the wars to come. In the shaping of Middle-earth, Sauron mattered not merely as a servant, but as a seed of the future darkness that would echo Morgoth's ambition. And as Sauron honed his deadly craft, Morgoth unleashed monsters that would haunt Middle-earth forever. Strategic and geographical shift. Morgoth's power was not contained to a single land. His dominion stretched across mountains, plains, and seas, each terrain shaping the battles fought. In the iron fortress of Angband, buried deep beneath the northern mountains, he forged weapons and bred monsters, turning geography into a weapon. Rivers became traps, forests were twisted into deadly mazes, and plains burned under dragonfire, leaving no sanctuary. Elves fortified hidden valleys, while men attempted to hold strategic passes, but every hill, river, or canyon presented both advantage and peril. The geography forced alliances, ambushes, and desperate retreats, amplifying the stakes of every skirmish. Even Sauron learned from the land, using strongholds and natural barriers to test and train armies. In the vast chessboard, terrain dictated strategy, and victory depended on who could master both the enemy and the earth. Yet no fortress, no mountain, no river could stop Morgoth's next terrifying creations from reshaping the battlefield forever. The First Age reached a breaking point as Morgoth's army swept across Middle-earth, laying waste to kingdoms and forests alike. Elves, men, and dwarves made desperate stands, yet betrayal and fear festered even among allies. Heroes fell under the claws of dragons, Balrogs stalked the night, and orcs flooded every battlefield. The theft of the Silmarils drove the war to its bitterest extremes. Princes, kings, and warriors sacrificed everything to reclaim the stolen light. Each decision carried irreversible consequences. Amid the chaos, Sauron's cunning began to show, exploiting both fear and loyalty to gain advantage for his master while learning the art of domination. At this moment, it became clear that the First Age would be defined not by victory alone, but by the devastating cost of fighting the darkness. And as the world teetered on the edge, the Valar prepared a force powerful enough to challenge Morgoth himself. The War of Wrath tore through Middle-earth like a storm of divine fury. Mountains crumbled, seas swallowed lands, and entire cities vanished beneath fire and flood. Morgoth, finally confronted, was defeated not by death, but by banishment, chained and dragged into the timeless void beyond the world. Yet his destruction came at a staggering cost. Countless elves, men, and creatures perished, bloodlines vanished, and kingdoms were reduced to ashes. Even survivors bore scars. In the aftermath, new leaders rose. Resilient elves claimed hidden realms, men rebuilt kingdoms from shattered foundations, and Sauron emerged from the shadows, tempered by lessons learned from his master's hubris. The balance of power had shifted, but the shadow Morgoth left behind endured in memory, corruption, and the very land. And though Morgoth was gone, the darkness he sowed ensured that evil would never truly disappear from Middle-earth. Morgoth's reign was more than conquest. It was a lesson etched into the soul of Middle-earth. Power, unchecked, became a corrupting force, tempting even the noblest heart to cruelty or despair. The theft of the Silmarils symbolized how desire can twist purity into obsession, how beauty can provoke violence when possessed wrongly. Heroes and kings faced constant choices between hope and surrender, courage and fear, loyalty and betrayal. Even Sauron, learning from his master, understood that dominion without subtlety could destroy the wielder as much as the world. Middle-earth bore witness. Forests scarred by fire, mountains reshaped by war, rivers poisoned by shadow. And as these lessons lingered, the true shadow of Morgoth's power prepared to return through his most cunning student, Sauron. Morgoth was cast into the timeless void, but his malice lingered in every corner of Middle-earth. Even as centuries passed, the memory of the first Dark Lord endured, a silent question haunting every choice. Do you think Middle-earth could ever defeat Morgoth if he returned, or would he be unstoppable? Let me know what you think.